In addition to becoming Canvas teachers now and Canvas users, many of us are needing to become Zoom experts as well, because this will be the medium that we use to actually connect with our students during synchronous times, or if we run small groups or any other sort of thing like proctoring a testing situation. And so I want to do a couple videos that we go over just some of the basics of Zoom. We'll start in this video with how to set up a meeting, just the basics of how to set up a meeting. We're going to use the basic version, but for meeting setup purposes, this works for the educational version as well. And then we'll look at the actual interface and how you use it and some best practices. Hi, I'm Evan. Welcome to the Canvas Tutorial Show. Let's get started. So, as I said, I've got the basic version up here, but this interface right here should be the same even if you have the educational version. Though the actual Zoom interface when you're conferencing with your students, that will look different if you're using the basic version or the educational version. The basic version is generally it limits to 40 minutes per meeting, and again, it doesn't allow you to do certain things, but you can do most things. And right now, because of COVID, Zoom has lifted that 40-minute limit, though they'll probably put it back at some point. I want to point out a couple different buttons here and what they do, and then point us towards the ones that we're going to use today. And so first off, this big orange one right here, if I were to click that, what would happen is that a meeting would just start right away. It's beneficial when you need to do an ad hoc meeting. Hey, we need to meet. Let's do it right now. And so you could grab the invite code and send it out. Join is kind of the opposite. Let's say somebody else joined, has done a meeting and they've sent you the meeting ID, okay? And so you would be able to paste that ID in there and you'd be able to join in on their meeting, okay? Those two you may or may not use very often. Share screen is related, where you're able to actually share your screen with another user. But we're going to look at this schedule button. Now, schedule kind of seems a little bit intuitive to see because there's that calendar. So you might think, oh, this is my schedule of meetings, but it's not. That is up here where it says meetings. Okay, this is your actual schedule of meetings, and as well you can see what's coming up, and if you have any recorded meetings in there, this is where we will look back to after we've set up our first meeting today. So let's go back to the first screen here, and we're going to hit this schedule button. Okay, notice that this pop-up comes up here and that we have some fields to fill out. So this first one is just the topic. So I'm just going to, let's do this as star testing. Okay. And then next we're going to do the date. And so we can click the down caret there and choose a date. So let's say 9/14. It automatically fills in the same date as the second or the end date. Next we can change the time. Okay, so let's say that this particular one starts at 10 a.m. Now make sure you pay attention to the start and end times, especially AM, PM. I have more than once scheduled a 12-hour meeting because I did it at AM here and PM there. But notice also that while this one is, they're both drop downs, this allows you to click and you can actually adjust the time. So let's say that it's actually at 10:20. When you do that, it doesn't automatically adjust the second time. So if you're trying to do, say, a 30-minute meeting and you do a specified time here, you need to come over here and adjust that manually. Okay. Now, if this is a meeting that you're going to be doing regularly, again, maybe you're doing, for our star testing, we're going to have a window of 5 days this week and 5 days the next week. And so we're going to want to do recurring. Or maybe it's scheduling for your class, in which case you are going to do, say, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 9 to 10 a.m. every day, as far into the future as you can. Okay, so we're going to hit recurring meeting, and look what happens is that it takes away that those options, and it says remember to check recurrence or repeat in your calendar invitation. See, it's going to use whatever calendar we have selected down here to then do the recurring meeting portion of it. So we'll get to that in a second. Next, it says meeting ID, generate automatically or use your personal meeting ID. Tip for life, don't use your personal meeting ID, especially when you're generating specific meetings, maybe for a class or for testing or something like that. that when you use that, it uses the same exact number every time you do a meeting. If you do the personal meeting ID, which means that somebody that has it from a previous meeting or somehow they got a hold of it, they can come in and join your meeting, and you don't want that. And so you want to generate a new one every single time, and that just adds that level and layer of security. You could change the password if you want to, but most would just leave it the same because it's going to be automatically in the link that you share out with those that are going to join your meeting. Okay, they'll be able to just click on it and they shouldn't need to put in a password. Okay, notice that this is not uncheckable. Uncheckable. Uncheckable because they've set that just as an extra layer of security. Here you can choose to whether you have your video on or off. I would suggest that the host video goes on and participants go off, and then they can choose to start it up if they want to. Here, I would encourage you to just do telephone and computer audio. That gives them the options that they need in order to get in the meeting. More than once, I've had to call in with my phone just because for whatever reason audio wasn't working in that moment. Okay, so having that as an option is good. And then here you're going to choose your calendar option. Okay, and so I'm going to use Google Calendar for this part, but you can use the built-in Apple iCal or Outlook or another one. Now we want to click this Advanced Options button. In fact, I don't know why I'm so small today. There we go. We're going to click there, and this here's a few things that you're going to want to pay attention to. First off, enable the rating room. And what this does is it creates a layer of protection really for your meeting that students or whomever goes in there, and then you as the host get to say admit, 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 and as well you can remove a student out there if you have a reason. And so if you have this enabled, it keeps people from being able to join your meeting without your permission, basically. Enable join before host. I would not suggest that you add that because that's kind of the opposite of what I just said with the waiting room, is that here they could actually get in there without you, and you don't want that, especially when you have students. You don't want them to be unsupervised. Mute participants upon entry, that's a bit standard. Here, only authenticated users can sign into Zoom. This you'll have to make a decision on a district level and whatever your district is doing. So for example, if they have created Zoom accounts for every single student and they want this, then great, click that. For us, our district, we aren't using that. It's that our teachers have Zoom accounts, our students don't. And so if we had that checked, what would happen is a student would have to then log into Zoom. They might have to create an account, which is this whole extra layer of difficulty, especially for our younger 5, 6, 7-year-olds. And so we leave that unchecked. And then this one right here, I wouldn't worry about that. It just says that basically that they'll share the data load to different parts, different regions if the meeting gets too big. And that's, if you're hosting a meeting with 1,000 people, that's kind of when you would click that. And if you're hosting a meeting with 1,000 people, you might want to find a better video than this one. So after we've done all that, we're going to go ahead and hit schedule. And notice that it is popping up, and I'm just going to quickly click here. And there we go. And this is just one of my test accounts. Okay. And so it pops up here. Now it's here's the funny thing. I need to make sure that I'm logged into my my student accounts Chrome. Sorry, my brain went blank right there. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to make sure that this is only the only one that I have open right now. Because it will not work otherwise. And all I need to do is I need to go back here, up to the meetings, and you see that there's that meeting. And I'm going to hit edit. And then, see, I still haven't done this part, so if I hit save, it's automatically try to load it again. And it's going to load it in whatever window I'm in. So right now I'm in the proper window with my fake student account. So notice that we now have this part right here where we can do repeat. So let's go ahead and click what kind of repetition we want. For example, do we want it just every Monday or every month on the same day, so on and so forth. I'm going to hit custom. And this will allow us to repeat on certain days of the week. So we're going to say repeat every week. And I want it on Monday, Tuesday. We're going to do star testing, so we'll do all week, but maybe you don't do Wednesday if you don't do Wednesday school, whatever. Then you can say, I want it to end after how many days. And so for us, let's say we're doing STAR testing just for 3 weeks. Okay, and you'll whatever your data is, you can either choose a date or you can choose the number of occurrences. That doesn't mean the number of weeks, that means of each individual meeting. So this would represent 5 in 1 week. Go ahead and hit done, and now you can see that it's going to repeat weekly on weekdays until a certain date. This right here is that Zoom link that you will use to either put on your page to link for students to get to, or you'll share that with for those that need it. Maybe you send them an email. One way you can do that is actually you can add people right here, and I'll just add another fake account. Okay, and so what it does is it adds them there. You can change this message. You can add a little bit more. Here's your STAR testing link. Okay. Though for my district, as we're doing this, we're actually going to get the link to the students in a different way, so we're not going to send it to them that way. And then all we're going to do is we're going to hit save. Now it's going to come up with this pop-up. Do you want to send this invitation to those that are on in the guests? Okay. Now again, you do not have to add somebody as a guest in order for them to access the link. If they have the link, they'll be able to click on it and get into the meeting if you allow them through the waiting room. But this is a way to send somebody the link if you want them to have it. Okay, so they don't need it to get in the meeting, but you can use it to send. I'm just going to hit don't send because we don't need it right now. And let's see, we started the meeting. There we go. And so we did it next week, and I'd already done a couple of testing, so don't be alarmed by this. I must have done the exact same time. Now let's say that I'm in my calendar here and I want to change the date. I can literally just open that first one up and I can change it. So let's go from 11 to, or 10 a.m. to 11. Notice that when I choose drop-down options, it does automatically change that next one. I'm going to hit save. This, do I want to do it just for that one instance? Do I want to do it for that one instance and everyone that comes after that? Or do I want to do it for all events? I want to do it for all events because we're going to change the time. And hit, again, I'm not going to send it. And now you can see that it changed the time. So there we go. We've looked at how you schedule a STAR testing, but a test, not a test, schedule a meeting inside of the basic version of Zoom. Again, this will be the same procedure that you would do if you have the advanced educational version as well, but this isn't how you would do it if you have the Canvas Zoom integration inside your course. I'm going to do another video on that another time to show you how you schedule those meetings. Okay, but I hope this content has been helpful. If it has been, share it out, let other people know about it. Cheers.